Breaking news! The Denver Broncos are gearing up for Sunday's game against the Indianapolis Colts, and it looks like it's going to be the team's most important matchup since Super Bowl 50. That may sound like an exaggeration, but when you think about it, it's clear how high the stakes are. This game isn't just about another regular season win. It's about solidifying Denver's playoff chances and potentially turning the corner on nearly a decade of struggle. Before you go any further, make sure you've hit the like button if you believe we can make the playoffs. And if possible, write something like this: "Please, Bo Nix, help us make it to the Super Bowl." Man, I believe in that so much. The Broncos currently hold the 7th seed in the AFC, tied at 8-5 with the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Chargers. Denver doesn't hold the tiebreaker against Baltimore, and a matchup with the Chargers looms just a week and a half away. But for now, the focus is squarely on Indianapolis, a team fresh off a bye week and also fighting tooth and nail for its playoff hopes. The numbers tell the story. A win on Sunday gives Denver an 87% chance of making the postseason, while a loss drops that number to just 40%. Why such a steep drop? A loss would still put Denver a game ahead of Indianapolis, but the Colts would win the decisive head-to-head tiebreaker. Adding to the pressure, Denver's remaining schedule is stacked with playoff-caliber opponents, while the Colts have a significantly easier path ahead. If the Broncos stumble here and the Colts finish strong, Denver could find itself on the outside looking in, despite its impressive turnaround this season. The psychological weight of this game is also immense. Since winning Super Bowl 50, the Broncos have been mired in mediocrity, failing to post a winning season since 2016. A win on Sunday not only moves them closer to clinching a playoff spot, but also marks a potential turning point for a franchise desperate to regain relevance. It's a rare opportunity to make a statement, not just to the league, but to the fans who stuck with the team through the lean years. On the injury front, the Broncos appear relatively healthy compared to their opponents, though there are still concerns. Riley Moss is likely out with a lingering knee issue, meaning a mix of Levi Wallace, Darian Mathis, and Chris Abrams-Draine will have to step up in the secondary. Additionally, Brandon Jones is questionable with a groin injury, and his availability will be critical for a defense already tasked with containing one of the league's most unpredictable quarterbacks in Anthony Richardson. Meanwhile, the Colts face their own challenges. While their injury list is longer, it's not catastrophic. Key players like Josh Downs and their backup special teams ace Duan Withers are dealing with injuries, but the biggest question mark is starting center Ryan Kelly. Placed on IR earlier this season, Kelly is eligible to return, and his presence would be a huge boost to a Colts offensive line that has struggled in his absence. This matchup promises to be a battle of strengths. Denver's defense has been one of the best in the league, ranking second in points allowed and excelling in the red zone, where they've held opponents to a 43% touchdown rate. Takeaways have also increased, with the Broncos' 18 turnovers putting them in the top 10 in the NFL. On the other hand, the Colts offense, led by Richardson, has been a mixed bag. Known for his aggressive downfield passing, Richardson leads the league with an average depth of target of 13 yards, an approach that often results in high-risk, high-reward plays. However, his completion percentage sits below 50%, reflecting the boom-or-bust nature of his style. The Broncos' defense will need to contain Richardson's dual-threat capabilities, particularly in the red zone, where his size and running ability have made him a dangerous weapon. All 4 of his rushing touchdowns this season have come inside the 10-yard line, underscoring the need for discipline and physicality from Denver's defenders when the field shortens. So, Broncos fans, what do you think? Is this really Denver's biggest game since Super Bowl 50? Are you feeling the pressure, or are you confident the team can rise to the occasion and deliver a win? Let us know what you think in the comments below as we prepare for a Sunday showdown that could define the Broncos season. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into the keys to victory and what it will take for Denver to emerge on top. As we dive deeper into this critical matchup, the keys to victory for the Broncos come into sharper focus. Let's break down the strategies that could tip the scales in Denver's favor and help secure a season-defining win against the Colts. First and foremost, limiting explosive air plays will be a top priority. Anthony Richardson's style as a quarterback is one of the most aggressive in the league, with an average depth of target of 13 yards, far and away the highest in the NFL. For context, the gap between Richardson and the next closest quarterback in this stat is astonishing. He plays like he's swinging for the fences on every throw, and while this has resulted in highlight reel moments, it's also a significant reason for his sub-50% completion rate. Examining the Broncos' first down play calling this season, they've been relatively balanced, passing 46% of the time, good for 16th in the league. Against Indianapolis, however, ramping up that aggressiveness to 55 to 60% could open up opportunities to exploit a defense that's been vulnerable to big plays. The goal should be to stretch the Colts early, forcing their defense to scramble and potentially giving Russell Wilson the space he needs to connect with his targets downfield. Speaking of targets, the third and final key to victory revolves around feeding Courtland Sutton. The veteran wide receiver has been nothing short of phenomenal over the past 6 weeks. Compared to his production in the first 7 games, Sutton's numbers have essentially doubled across receptions, yards, and touchdowns. In this recent stretch, he's ranked second in the NFL in receiving yards, trailing only his former teammate Jerry Jeudy and outperforming stars like Jamar Chase. This isn't the time to overthink the game plan. Sutton has been the hot hand, and good things happen when the Broncos get him the ball. The Colts secondary, while solid, lacks a true shutdown corner capable of neutralizing a player of Sutton's caliber. Kenny Moore is a strong presence when the Colts shift into nickel defense, but players like Jalen Jones and Darrell Baker Jr. are more susceptible to being beaten, especially by a receiver with Sutton's combination of size and skill. Denver must capitalize on this advantage and ensure Sutton is heavily involved from the outset. To sum it all up, the Broncos need to focus on 3 main areas to come out on top: limit Richardson's big plays, be aggressive on first downs, and lean on Sutton's incredible recent form. If they can execute on these fronts, the path to a playoff berth becomes much clearer. So, Broncos fans, what are your thoughts? Can Denver's defense contain Richardson's high-risk style? Will we see a more aggressive Russell Wilson on early downs? And is Sutton poised to be the game-changing force that carries the team to victory? Let us know your score predictions and game day insights in the comments below. With everything on the line this Sunday, this is a game you won't want to miss. It's time to address something that's been simmering under the surface for far too long. Russell Wilson is not the answer for the Denver Broncos. After years of clinging to the hope that Wilson could return to his peak form and deliver consistent success, the evidence is clear. Our franchise has been spinning its wheels, stuck in a frustrating cycle of mediocrity. Enter Bo Nix, the savior this team has been desperately waiting for. Wilson's time in Denver has been marked by flashes of brilliance overshadowed by long stretches of inconsistency. Sure, there have been moments when he reminded us why he was once considered one of the league's elite quarterbacks, but those moments have become fewer and farther between. The game has changed, and Wilson hasn't adapted. The mobility that made him special? It's diminished. The deep ball accuracy? It's sporadic at best. And his decision-making? Let's just say it's not what you'd expect from a veteran commanding such a hefty paycheck. Meanwhile, Bo Nix represents everything the Broncos have been missing. The rookie sensation has brought energy, precision, and a willingness to push the ball downfield that this offense has lacked for years. Watching Nix command the field feels like a breath of fresh air. His decisiveness, athleticism, and poise under pressure are the qualities of a true franchise quarterback. And the best part? He's only just getting started. Go Broncos! Go Nix!